Hello everyone, welcome to another video. Today we're just going to be talking about Rainbow Six Extraction and the consequences of staying in the subzone when the timer is about to run out. So essentially, if you're new to Rainbow or you already know this, it's just going to be a video explaining what will happen if you stay in the subzone for too long. So the first thing you'll get is the 3-minute warning to a subzone shutdown. Ash will then warn you about the incoming swarm signals that will spawn in the map and try to take you down. And she'll essentially just tell you to hurry up. And then the next part will be the 2-minute warning. And the React PA will tell you that you have 2 minutes remaining, so you need to move. And then in the 1-minute countdown, as you can see, Archeans will actually start to spawn into the map. So what you would normally need to do now is you would either have to go to the airlock and close the door and then progress to the next subzone, or if you couldn't get to the airlock or didn't want to go to the airlock, you wanted to finish the game, then you would have to run to the extraction pod and call for the extraction pod, so then you can safely leave the game that way. In the event that you aren't able to make it in time to the airlock or the extraction pod, your operator unfortunately will go down, and he will go MIA so long as you activate the pod or the extraction pod. That will prevent your operator from going MIA. During the event of the last minute on the subzone shutdown, the amount of enemies is just non-stop. And depending on what difficulty you're on, or parasite mutations, for example, elite incursions. So basically, if you were in the subzone and you were like in the middle of the map, not halfway to the extraction pod or halfway to the airlock, you would have enemies coming in of all sorts, and it would just be non-stop. And what's worse, like I said, if you had like a parasite mutation, that would apply to the enemies spawning, like elite incursion. So basically you'd have like 5 different enemy elites spawning at you all at once during that last minute sequence. So as soon as you're in that, as soon as it comes to the last 2 minutes, that's when you really want to start finishing up. And if you haven't completed the objective for whatever reasons, whether it's too hard or too much pressure, you need to make a decision then. Is it worth staying? In my experience, it's never worth losing your experience unless it's like me, you have a max operator, then it doesn't really matter, you can just pick him up normally. But if you're still grinding and haven't prestige yet and you're still getting your advancements for the operators and you don't want to lose the XP, then you need to, in the last 3 minutes, wrap up what you're doing, finish the objective, or just simply go to the airlock and ignore it. Just couldn't do it, so you head to the next subzone and try the next one, or you head to the extraction pod if you're on the, let's say that the final mission or objective rather. Then you would just simply get there, get out, and secure your operator. It's worth noting as well, in the clips you've been watching where I've been playing around with this, as you can see now, my operator goes MIA even though I'm on the extraction pod. If you're in the airlock or the extraction pod and the timer is about to hit 0, you need to hit the airlock door or the extraction pod. That way it will cancel you going into the stasis and losing your operator. It will then progress either to the next subzone, or it will simply get you out safely. You might find some people in games who play differently. They might want more XP and they might challenge things and open the door and they want to stay for a minute or two and try and get as many kills as possible. But here's an example of, like, I figured get in the recording, you know, I could get some kills and then move on, but just show you how many enemies that could happen to attack you all at once. Obviously I'm on solo, so it's a lot harder, but as you can see, like, they've completely surrounded me and there's literally nothing I can do. And that also applies online. Like, you can get all sorts of enemies coming at you non-stop, and it's so easy to get overwhelmed, and there's like literally nothing you can do, even if you have a really good team and you're really set up for it. If you're not careful, they will swarm you and they will just completely annihilate you and your team. So let's talk about acute swarm response. This is the parasite mutation. You'll get medium XP on objective completion. So basically it's the same premise of instead of on the 1 minute shutdown, as you can see, 3 minutes and 29 seconds, that's when enemy Archeans will start spawning in and actually attacking you. And every 20 seconds or so, I'd say, they start spawning in more and more and more. And it's basically the same thing. There's not really much of a difference except for the time when you spawn into the game. I'm pretty sure you have 8 or 6 minutes on the SubZone. I'm not really too sure on that. I should have checked that before I did the video. Oh well. But yeah, you have less time when you start in the map. That goes for each objective. And then they obviously, the enemy Archeans, they obviously come a lot sooner in the 3 minutes, and then it's just non-stop action. So when you play on this parasite mutation, you really need to, like, that's the time when you really want to go guns blazing and like fast stealth as best as you can. Even if your style is to like stealth, like usually I play slow and I go slow. That's how I like to play. But this really forces you to speed up that process, and if you're not too careful, you will get caught out. It's so easy. Like, I've been playing Rainbow Six Extraction for a long time. It's so easy to get caught off guard. Anything can happen in the games, and especially with this parasite mutation, you might not think much of it, but as soon as all those enemies start coming in, they could block where you're going. They can just shut the whole thing down, and it's not worth the risk. So on that note, yeah, when you're in the airlock, make sure you request the airlock transition before the timer hits 0, and when you're on the extraction pod, make sure you request extraction on that little square thing on the pod. That will secure your operator, and then you'll be safe. Thanks for watching.